Hi, I'm Karen Worley, General Manager, Eves Bay of Plenty, and I'm with Grant Child, who is our Group Auction Manager, and of course the auctioneer for Eves Realty. And Grant, I'd have to say you're looking very comfortable up here.
You're in my zone. You're in my zone, Karen. This is my favourite place. I love being here every Thursday, 1 o'clock, and it's certainly a great place to be.
Grant successfully sells auctions for many of our vendors week after week. And Grant, what most people don't know is that selling in the auction room on auction day is not the only chance that people who take their property to auction have to sell.
Yeah, that's really an interesting point there, Karen. It's something that kind of grates with me a little bit too, because a lot of people they judge the success of an auction on what actually happens in here in the auction room on auction day. But what they lose sight of is the fact that auctions are a three-phase process. And they're split into these three phases, where phase one, we go through the first week of marketing, getting everything set up, and then we run an extensive campaign exposing the property as much as we can out there into the marketplace. And our salespeople, they do a great job. That's where they do all the open homes and private viewings and everything, identifying every buyer that might be interested in that property. And then as we come towards auction day, basically what they do is they go through all of those buyers and they identify the buyers that have done all their homework, they've got any specialist reports, they've had LIM reports, builders reports, they've got their finance all organised. They're what we call cash unconditional buyers. They're the only ones that can buy on auction day. So, that's kind of limits the market. And if we don't sell on auction day, it doesn't mean that the auction's been a failure. What it means is that we haven't got a cash unconditional buyer for that property on the day. So then we move straight into the next phase, which is phase three, where we work with what we call conditional buyers, who we identify in that first phase. So it's just a process that we work through. And they're extremely successful. We're getting some great results from the auctions. Particularly, everybody was expecting everything to be quiet and everything after COVID. Business is booming, especially in the auction room.
We're certainly seeing that, and I think this week was a prime example. 11 properties out of 20 sold immediately. Yeah. And then more have gone into contract, I believe, since. So,
well, I just had a quick look at our stats for July so far. So far we've called 63 auctions in the auction room for July, and 60% of those properties have been sold. So 34 of them were sold under the hammer, and another 4 were sold within 14 days of the auction being called. So, when you look at those equations, so that means that of the 63 properties the auctions that we've called, we've had activity on 75% of them, because there's another 9 are already under contract now. So. And we've got another week next week on the 30th of July. We've got another 18 properties going up here. Now 4 of them are already sold now. They've been sold prior through the buyer activity that's out there. So
it is an amazing way to sell, and I've certainly experienced it myself, where we've taken properties to auction as well. And I guess that's the greatest recommendation that I can give, and I'm sure you too, because you too have experienced that whole auction program very successfully, that we would, if we were taking our properties to the market, would most definitely put them on auction.
Absolutely.
Is every property suitable for auction?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's really, really exciting that we're seeing at the moment is for the last 3 weeks in a row, we've seen tears in the auction room. And that's tears of joy, and we've got first home buyers that are being successful now. They're securing their new homes, and yesterday and last week we had, I witnessed buyers and sellers hugging each other in the auction room with tears rolling down their faces, and they were first home buyers. So any property is saleable, there's no two ways about it, because there's a buyer out there for everything. You don't drive around our wonderful city seeing a whole bunch of empty houses because nobody wants them.
You're right.
There's a buyer out there for everything.
And the thing that I believe is that by removing the price, you remove the very first objection that any buyer ever has to a property. Exactly. So they can't just discard it because it's too expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
They go through, they become emotionally involved in the property, right? Yep. And then they decide whether it fits their needs, and then they start to think about what they need to pay to own it. Would that be right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't limit what the vendor may receive for the property.
No, and it doesn't limit what a buyer might be prepared to pay for a property either, because like you say, it's all about the emotion, and homes have got feelings. And when people start eliminating properties based on what they see in the photographs or what they see in the advertising, or they drive past it and think, oh no, I don't like the look of that, they don't actually know what's on the inside. And sometimes you get into a home and it's just got a wonderful feeling. And and even a lot of our salespeople have experienced that. You sort of think, Yeah, and I recall my wife and I, we were looking for 4 bedrooms, dual facilities and 2 living areas. We finished up buying a house that only had 1 living area, 1 bathroom, and it did have the 4 bedrooms, but it didn't even have a double garage. But it just felt right. So, homes have got feelings.
It's amazing, and that too, once again, demonstrates that difference between wants and needs, isn't it? Because what you want and what you need can be 2 very different things. And it also very clearly demonstrates what emotion does for a property, and you can't put a price on emotion.
No.
Grant, just very quickly in finishing off, the market's really strong at the moment, clearly, for auction properties.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
Great.
Very much so. We've got the odd buyers out there that won't buy at auction, but I think it's fair to say they won't buy at auction because they don't actually understand the process, and we can help people with that. If you're a little bit nervous about auctions, then get hold of your salesperson. We've got a video that we've set up that explains the process and how to go about it and that sort of thing. And of course, I'm always available to talk to buyers and just coach them through as well. So, yeah, it's an exciting process.
It is an exciting process.
And successful.
Oh, without doubt, those stats prove it.
Yeah,
hey, thanks very much for listening today. Grant, I'll be back with you in a couple of weeks' time just to see what's happening in the market again.
Yep.
And remember, if you are thinking of selling, then go through the different processes with your salespeople, find the process that suits you the best, but certainly the stats show that auctions are a pretty convincing method to sell. So thanks very much for listening.